But yeah, okay. Who's your key rider? If you have to pick one shock who's not here, just to finish this segment, who's the big surprise for you? I'm going to say Remco Evenepoel because he's the world champion and he's in good shape. So, but we all know that. I've been banging on about it for weeks.
I'm saying Max Paul.
Fair enough.
Have to.
Okay, based on strength or based on name?
Oh, why are you going to say Froome?
I will say Froome because
I
I
think it's
genuinely
fair.
think
It's fair. It's fair. Yeah, it's
because
fair.
Froome. Okay, there are riders. Matthias Vacek is a much better fitness than Chris Froome and will probably get more results. But Chris Froome will make headlines worldwide, even if he finishes 55th on a stage or not. The fact that Chris Froome would be here, I think, would make headlines. Even if he makes a breakaway, that would be the most talked about breakaway probably of that week of the Tour de France. He is such a big name, and I don't quite understand why Israel Premier Tech have missed him out from the squad when they brought him in to do this exact thing and to raise publicity for their squad, especially if they're pushing their charity work this year like last year. It would have been a brilliant opportunity for Chris Froome to generate some publicity and some hype.
It's weird because Chris Froome's out of contract to the end of this year with Israel Premier Tech, and I don't know. Maybe this is a discussion for another day, but
Great value for money.
I just don't know what's going to happen to him at the end of this year. Because if I was Israel, I ain't re-signing him. Maybe he'll go back to Ineos. They're desperate.
Surely they will, though. He's Chris Froome. Like they have to sort of keep him on. He also said in like his interview about not making the team that he's going to be there next year. You'd assume it would be with Israel Premier Tech, but who else is going to take him on? Human Powered Health.
Yeah, we might as well. What's going to happen with Chris Froome? Because if he's basing himself on this Tour de France selection thing and now it's not happening, he's very expensive, as we know as well. The reports of 5 million euros for seasons that don't really equate to that salary. So, yeah, what is the next step for Chris Froome after being snubbed here at the Tour de France?
I mean, I think that his value, like, there's no way that he can negotiate that price again. There's no way that a team would take him on for that amount of price. I would honestly consider, we're just talking about Trenton with Tudor. Would Chris Froome go to Tudor Pro Cycling? They seem to actually have aspirations of going world tour, so they actually do need results. But would they consider a Chris Froome as they've got a very young gun team? How much do they value the experience of a four-time Tour de France champion in helping their riders to develop? I just don't personally see that a world tour team. This is an era where everyone's very much aware of the relegation battle. You can't be taking up your budget with some guy who isn't bringing in results. I think that he would have to stay at Pro Conti. I think at Tudor, people talk about they've got a pretty decent budget. Maybe that's a decent move that they might do.
Well, Alberto Dainese is also rumored to Tudor as well, bringing in more firepower. There's also room for a climber probably at that squad, a top tier climber to add to their ranks. But if he wants to make the Tour de France, he has to be on sort of a Tour de France squad that's in the loop. Chris Froome has been learning and improving his French over the past couple of years. And there is a certain team with a big name oil brand, petroleum people backing them who are losing a very notable Tour de France star of the 2010s, Total Energy. Froome jumping across to there, that would really fit in with their new image of being the washed French team that signs old people. And you know what? I think it could work out. But to be honest, I just think he'd probably stay at Israel Premier Tech. He's been really focusing on the charity aspect and giving back and making this team more than just a bike team. And I think Chris Froome is probably on board with that project. They raced the Tour of Rwanda this year, and Froome was there. It was a big deal for them. He has got them a lot of publicity. So I would suggest he probably stay with the team. And also, he's built up this relationship with a very, very rich man by the name of Sylvan Adams, and maybe he would want to sort of keep on this partnership they have going.
So we kind of agreed that basically Froome going somewhere is not because he's going to get results, it's because of his celebrity presence, like his history and the weight that his name brings. That's essentially what he's bringing to the table. Like, he ain't winning.
Look at his stats on Pro Cycling Stats. It's gone from like in the thousands in 2018 all the way to like the double digits. Obviously in 2019 we know what happened there, but like following on there when he went to Israel Premier Tech, like what's the best result you can think Froome did? Like Tour Rwanda. No offense to it, but a rider like Froome should be walking all over those riders.
He was 14th at Mercantour. It's not bad. But this reminds me of football reference incoming, guys. This reminds me of David Beckham in sort of the late 2000s when he moved to LA Galaxy. Froome's move to LA Galaxy was like him going to Israel Premier Tech. Then he went to Paris Saint-Germain and then went back to America. Maybe Froome is about to make a brief World Tour appearance before he moves back to obscurity once again. Or he starts a team or so forth. Who knows? Maybe Ineos can't.
Ineos would take him.
But
Ineos is so desperate.
Yeah,
they're
Ineos
the
are
Paris Saint-Germain
desperate.
equivalent.
Yeah, I mean, well, don't you think UAE are the Paris Saint-Germain equivalent, or are they more the Manchester City?
I would say Man City. I think Ineos is maybe more Manchester United, but football metaphor, football.
I've lost it already.
But I don't know. Maybe if we're drawing comparisons between Beckham and Froome is going to make that brief World Tour stint before he goes back into sort of human-powered health or Israel.
Who would take him? Like anyone on the World Tour, can you think of?
I mean, UAE are hiring a lot of people, but I don't think they would hire Froome. We have a lot of transfer rumors at the moment coming from UAE. But I don't think he'd fit in. Astana. Ooh, the Cavendish to Froome pipeline.
Actually, yeah.
I don't know. There's just like there's no real good reason for Chris Froome to go to Astana. Like, there really isn't. They've already got the main man in Lutsenko. Like, Chris Froome is going to be
road champion, national road champion. We didn't mention that earlier.
Yeah, like Chris Froome's domestiquing, like for Lutsenko. Ain't no way he's bullying his way in there.
Lead out man for Glebser. It's 2024.
I mean, this year they're going to break the record, the Eddie Merckx record with Mark Cavendish potentially. So next year they want to make sure that Froome joins the 5 Tour de France club.
Imagine Astana just swooping in and decide we're going to take this sprint to get him one last win. We're going to get this one GC guy and get him one last win. And then we're just going to finish. And then that's it. And they just claim all this victory. They are just like the cherry on top of the cake.
This is their new niche in cycling.
Yeah.
It's like bringing over riders for their like final farewell season. Maybe in like the year is 2036 and Tadej Pogačar is moving to Astana, Kazakhstan to get a 6th Tour de France victory. And they're the team that are going to push him across the line.
Who knows what will happen with Froome? I think we're all kind of just sad that it's kind of declining his legacy in a way. Every time he goes on to a race and doesn't win it, it's kind of that monster that we all recall isn't there anymore. But nevertheless, Froome aside, that was a bit of a bonus conversation. But